My ex-wife is trying to win me back by using our kids as leverage. Doesn't sound like a massive problem, right? Well, I wish I could just tell her to leave me alone for good, but we have 2 daughters and share custody, so I can't cut her out of my life completely, not without also cutting out my girls. We got married pretty young, at 21, after dating for 3 years. Our daughters were born in the first year of our marriage, and there were complications that meant my ex-wife might struggle to conceive again. It didn't matter to me back then, because I was just grateful she came through the ordeal healthy, and we had 2 beautiful baby girls to raise. Our marriage lasted 9 years and ended when I divorced her because she cheated. I have zero tolerance for infidelity, and I don't believe in making myself suffer for something that wasn't my fault. It might sound hard to believe, but any love I had for her died when I found out about her affair and all the details. So this isn't about me moving on. I've done that 7 years ago. I don't even hate her. I just don't care about what happens in her life unless it affects our daughters. The problem is, I'm the only one who moved on. My ex-wife, her family, and even our daughters keep trying to push us back together, even though I've made it clear I have no interest in that. Not dating anyone for a few years after the divorce might have given them false hope, but I wasn't about to jump into another relationship so soon, not with my daughters to think about. They were my top priority, along with dealing with my own issues from her cheating. I worked through those with help from friends, family, and counseling. So that's all behind me now. I have no problems communicating with my girls, none at all. They understand everything else just fine. There's never been any fighting, no yelling, no crazy teenage rebellion, no tantrums. Pretty great, right? Except for this one issue. They know about their mom cheating on me. She told them herself about 3 years ago. I think she's been feeding them some kind of story since then, and I've asked her many times to stop, that it's not helping anyone and just keeps them from moving on. But she didn't stop, she just got sneakier about it. In all the years since our divorce, she hasn't dated or been with anyone else. While she might think that's admirable, I don't. Honestly, I find it a bit insulting. When we were married, she was unfaithful, but now she's fine without intimacy for 7 years. Whatever, not that it matters. I could ignore the occasional comments about their mom, how good she looks, them showing me photos where she's obviously dressed up for my benefit, but it's gotten worse lately. Why? Because I have a girlfriend now. Jenna isn't the first woman I've dated since the divorce, but she's the most serious relationship I've had since then. She's also 7 years younger than me. Before we became a couple, we knew each other for 4 years through a shared hobby, so it was a gradual shift from being friends to being together. I can honestly say I love this woman. It surprised me when I realized that because, although I didn't want to admit it, I was afraid that what my ex-wife did had damaged me so much that I couldn't truly love someone else like I once loved her. At first, my daughters didn't have much to say about our relationship, just like they didn't comment on my previous post-divorce relationships. But then they started coming home earlier than scheduled and would find me and Jenna together. Nothing inappropriate, no intimate moments or anything like that. Then came the grumbling, then the why is she here questions. Then, it's not fair to mom what you're doing, as if I was only dating Jenna to spite their mother. So I sat them down and talked, and talked, and talked some more. But they're just not getting it. They won't let go of this fantasy where I get back together with their mom. Jenna, thank goodness, has been understanding and isn't upset by their behavior. She says to give them time, but I doubt that will help. It hasn't so far, so I don't see why more time would change anything. Anyway, since I'm out of ideas, I thought I'd ask you all if anyone has any suggestions on how to handle this. Is there any way to help my daughters realize that I will not, under any circumstances, get back with their mother? Edit, I've tried telling them many times that while their mother and I are on good terms, it's only for their sake, not ours, at least not for me. It just doesn't seem to sink in. As I've mentioned in other conversations, I brought up her cheating to explain why I won't be with their mother, and they already knew about it. But they keep saying things like how she's faithful to me now. When I point out that she can't be faithful to me since we're not together, They just ignore it. I think what's confusing them is that they never saw their mother as anything but loving toward me and them, or at least they don't remember if she was distant during her affair. And yes, it was a full-blown affair, not just a one-time mistake. Not that I wouldn't have divorced her either way. She was far from loving in private, but they didn't see that, nor should they have. My attempts at intimacy were often rejected, and I felt more and more discouraged until I realized, with help from a close friend, that the problem wasn't me, it was her. That's what led me to discover the affair, because I started looking for reasons why our relationship had deteriorated so much. It wasn't just about intimacy. There were little things missing from our daily lives, too. We used to kiss at the front door before going to work, something that in hindsight had stopped happening. Bottom line is, she denied me even the most basic affection while giving it to someone else. To me, that's unforgivable. They don't understand that. They couldn't, not even if I told them everything, which I'd rather not, and how hurtful it is to realize your spouse doesn't care about you anymore. So all this regret and wanting us to get back together, it means nothing to me. What's the point? Where was all this supposed love and remorse when it actually mattered? They seem to think that being together would make me happy again. They can't understand what it's like when you can't trust your partner, your spouse, no less. I hope they never have to experience that. I would never wish that on them. I've talked with my ex-wife numerous times, probably 100, about not involving our adult issues in our daughters' lives. In one ear and out the other, as they say. Despite my hesitation, I will end up talking to them about how their mother's cheating affected me. I'm not even doing it for myself at this point, but because someone pointed out that they're internalizing this as a normal way to love, which worries me. I need to help them understand that cheating isn't something to be taken lightly or ignored. As for Jenna, she's not trying to be a mother figure to them at all. She knows there's only about a decade between them, and that's not enough for them to see her as a mom. Not to mention, she has no intention of replacing their mother. Her approach is to wait until they stop hoping for a reunion between me and their mom, and then, over time, become more comfortable around each other, which, if all goes well, will happen eventually. To be fair, my daughters aren't being rude or disrespectful to her face or behind her back. They don't seem to dislike her. They just prefer me to reunite with their mother. That's all. Update. It's been a while since I first shared this, and I was reminded that I owe an update to those who offered help. A lot has happened. For one, my daughters stumbled across my post. I had no idea they even used Reddit. When I came home from work one day, I found them in tears. They hugged me and begged for forgiveness. Unfortunately, they had read one of my replies and learned the full extent of their mother's affair and how deeply it hurt me. It took time, but we worked through it as a family. There was nothing for me to forgive. They're still young and love their mother, who used that love to manipulate them. That's on her, not them. We went through counseling, and after several months, the therapist helping us said we didn't need regular sessions anymore, just occasional check-ins. We're closer now than before, but their relationship with their mother has suffered, which is understandable. I still remind them not to dwell too much on what she did since I've moved past it. That was also addressed in counseling, both individually and together. So it's behind us now. I had a brief confrontation with my ex-wife and made it clear she needed to stop pushing this idea of us getting back together onto our daughters. I don't know if it truly sank in, but my daughters haven't mentioned it since, or maybe they just ignore her when she brings it up. Either way, as long as they're okay, I don't care what my ex-wife does. Since things have improved, my daughter's relationship with Jenna has gotten much better. They've started talking to her rather than just exchanging quick hellos and goodbyes. They even ask her for advice on things, typical teenage stuff. Seeing that for the first time warmed my heart. I'll admit that this progress encouraged me to think about proposing to Jenna, who has been incredibly supportive throughout all of this. We've known each other for a long time, spent a lot of time together, and after everything, I wanted to show her how much she means to me, but she beat me to it 2 months ago. Jenna, with help from my daughters, surprised me by proposing. I felt a bit overwhelmed, but also incredibly happy, not just because of the proposal, but because my daughters were part of it. They helped plan a special dinner and evening out. To say I was amazed is an understatement. We had a small, private wedding with only our closest friends and family. Now, we're expecting a baby, and my daughters are excited about having a little brother or sister to spoil.